This is Volusia Today, a public information radio program brought to you by the County of Volusia.
Good morning and welcome to Volusia Today, your source for all Volusia County news. My name is Maggie Hessler. I'm your host today. Michael is not with us today, which is a little bit different, but it's exciting. And I have my co-host here, Pat Kewen. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing great. It's a wonderful day to be in Florida again.
It is. It's beautiful outside, isn't it? Absolutely lovely. Absolutely lovely. And we got some cool stuff coming up in Daytona Beach. Do you want to tell me a little bit about the job fair that's coming up?
That's right. We've got a really big job fair coming up next week, Thursday. That's May 23rd, and it's from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Florida Department of Health on Holzenbach. And so the county's collaborating with the health department to present job opportunities to applicants. And on the county side, we're going to have people from emergency medical services, corrections, Votran, and beach safety. So some of the big jobs we're looking to fill are for EMS help, such as paramedics, corrections. We always need corrections officers, and we need bus drivers and lifeguards. So come on out and see what we can do for you.
Oh, that's awesome. And lifeguards, man, what a cool job to have during the summer, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, they really have a room with a view over there.
They do. I would like to work over there and just kind of hang out on the beach all day with my laptop, maybe get some news releases done over there. But it is beautiful. I was over there not too long ago, and the weather is just absolutely lovely this time of year. And so I could only imagine being a lifeguard during this time of year and getting to just hang out on the beach and watch everybody. It's really cool.
Yeah, but they have their intense moments too.
Oh, they definitely do. They definitely do. But what a cool opportunity, especially for the younger folks too. You know, a good opportunity to get plugged in with the county early and then kind of set yourself up for success in the long run for sure. But that being said, we do have some young folks who've gotten some pretty cool awards recently in Volusia County. Volusia County's 4-H Youth Livestock Team is headed to the 2024 National 4-H Livestock Judging Contest to represent Florida, which is really cool. They earned the state championship honors at the 2024 4-H State Livestock Judging Contest. I had never heard of the judging contest before, so I had to learn a little bit about it. And it's kind of interesting. They get to go in and they do all sorts of things with sheep and cattle and swine, and it was kind of a cool thing for the youth to be involved in. And it's open from ages from 5 to 18, so if anyone's interested, it's a really good opportunity to get in there and learn about our 4-H program. And kind of with that, UF IFAS is part of that, and their extension offers homebuyer classes coming up. So if you're looking to purchase a home, consider participating in the first-time homebuyer program. The UF IFAS extension office offers purchase homebuyer workshops that meet the HUD education requirements. For those participating in the program, it will be through Microsoft Teams. Feel free to go to their website and check it out. They're offering multiple classes. They are split into 2 sessions, some of which those 2 sessions are featured in one day, which is really nice. But it's all online, so you can get those education requirements fulfilled, and it's nice and easy for somebody to do. But I'm sure there's a lot of education that comes out of that. 100%.
Yes, there is. And speaking of education, our environmental management staff is really out there promoting programs they're actually free programs for environmental enthusiasts and just anybody who likes the great outdoors. We have Explore Volusia, which offers snorkeling, paddles, and hikes, and we also have an aquatic animal dip net adventure coming up.
Oh yeah,
I'm not real sure what that is.
Okay, so I read about that. It looked so cool. They're actually going out and they're going to take some nets and learn about the different marine life out in Volusia County. So you get to actually kind of like catch and then release some different marine life, which will be kind of cool.
Ooh, I might want to do that one.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Me and Pat, we're going to go join. We're going to take the day off.
Yeah, and Lyonia Environmental Center is out in Deltona, and they always have outdoor hikes into Lyonia Preserve. You can look for scrub jays and gopher tortoises, and they also have a lot of indoor classes. And also we have Green Volusia and B Floridian now. They're planning a scavenger hunt and a walk and weed hike. So go to volusia.org and look for all these fun programs.
Yeah, definitely. There's some cool stuff coming up. Talking about wildlife, we've got some really fun guests here in the office today. We have Chad Murch with our environmental management and Cora Bercham with Save the Manatee Program. How are you guys doing this morning?
Great.
Oh, wow.
Good.
Good to be here.
Awesome. Well, we're happy to have you. Why don't you guys go ahead and introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about what you do.
I'm Chad Murch. I work for Volusia County Environmental Management under the Manatee Protection Program. What we do is try to mitigate the impact that humans have on our wildlife out there. We run a marine mammals training team for when marine mammals do get in distress or they strand on Volusia County shores. We run a response team that handles them. We also run some very cool volunteer programs where citizen science can come into play and get volunteers involved for monofilament recovery programs and general sighting of manatees. We get kind of a good bird's eye view of which manatees are using what Volusia County waterways, and it's a great way to get involved with the wildlife.
That's awesome. How about you?
Yeah, so I'm Cora Bercham. I'm the Director of Multimedia and Manatee Research Associate for the Save the Manatee Club. We're a nonprofit located in Longwood here in Florida, but we really do work all around the state. So in my position, I do handle a lot of the outreach and the education, as well as the social media, our live webcams, and then I also assist with the photo ID research over at Blue Springs State Park in the winter time, which is really exciting.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, I'll bet both of you have been involved in quite a few manatee rescues. Can you tell us about, let's say, one or two of the most exciting ones you've been in on?
There is an extensive rescue network within Florida. We all work under their Manatee Rehabilitation Partnership, so that's a pretty vast network that expands all throughout Florida for rescue, rehabilitation, and the release of those animals. We do get called quite a bit for specifically manatees that are in distress. A lot of times they get hit by boats out there, unfortunately. So that's one of the common causes of mortality, and one of the main reasons that we'll go out and rescue those animals is boat interaction, manatees.
Wow, well, you bring up boats, and next week is Boat Safety Week, which is really awesome to hear about. Do you want to share a little bit about what that'll look like for you guys?
Yeah, I can get started with that. So yeah, every year at the end of May, just before Memorial Day, it is National Safe Boating Week, which is kind of a nice reminder to let boaters know on how to safely boat and also how to watch out for manatees, because so many boaters just don't necessarily know really how to look for manatees. Nobody really wants to do any harm, but they're very difficult to see. So this is a really great way to share information with the public. So Save the Manatee Club is doing a big campaign that week, and yeah, that's kind of what it's all about.
So what do boaters need to do when they're riding through waterway that might have manatees?
Yeah, so the first thing is to really go slow, especially in shallow habitat. Manatees usually live in coastal areas or near shore waters where it's shallow, so they're very slow-moving animals. They can't really get out of the way of a fast-moving boat, so obeying these posted speed limits is the number one thing to do. Also, good advice is to wear polarized sunglasses. They really reduce the glare, so it's easier to see manatees and other wildlife in the water. Having a designated spotter on your vessel, so another person who just really keeps an eye out for manatees and other marine life. And then if you do, accidentally hit a manatee or you see a manatee in distress, you can report that to the Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission. They have a 24-hour hotline. So that's the thing to do if you see a distressed manatee.
Very easy to contact. FWC is kind of our coordinating entity for all rescues. Pound FWC from your cell phone puts you right in contact with their dispatch, and they will alert a local biologist and have come down and kind of investigate the situation.
Oh, I'm going to have to write that down. Pound FWC.
Pound FWC.
Good to know.
Be any easier.
Well, we'll go ahead and take our first break, and then when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about what we can do.
Subscribe to the Volusia County YouTube channel.
And hit the bell icon to know what's happening in your hometown.
There are so many great places to explore.
And things to learn.
With over 1,000 videos available right now, the channel offers something for everyone.
Let's go!
Did you know we have countless features showcasing history, nature, wildlife, and recreation? Subscribe and hit the bell icon.
Or that we live stream important county meetings and workshops where leaders make decisions that can impact our everyday lives. Did you subscribe yet?
Or that we record our weekly radio show, Volusia Today, where we interview staff from the different divisions and departments across our great county, and they discuss the nitty-gritty of their field and expertise.
Go ahead, subscribe.
But that's not it. There's more. Subscribe and hit the bell icon and fully explore.
Score!
We're back. I'm Pat Kewen, and you're listening to Volusia Today. I'm here with Maggie Hessler, along with Chad Murch and Cora Bercham from our Manatee Protection Program.
Awesome. Yeah, we were just talking about some different things that boaters can do to keep manatees safe. And something that you brought up that was kind of interesting to me, me and my fiance, we recently just got a fishing boat. When we go out there, we really are not very good at catching fish. I'm sorry, James, if you're listening. I just spoiled your secrets to everybody. We have caught, I think, one fish, and we've been out like every single weekend since we got the boat. It's not going well. But the polarized glasses, it's so interesting you say that. We actually trade off when we start going, I don't have a pair, and he does. And it really does make a difference in seeing them in the water.
Huge difference, absolutely. I tell that to people all the time, even not just for boating, but we have a lot of people that come to Blue Spring, especially in the winter time, to see manatees, and they always ask me, well, where are they? And you know, as soon as they wear these polarized sunglasses, it makes a world of a difference. So yeah, and I mean, they're pretty inexpensive to buy, so really good investment.
Polarized sunglasses are awesome. Also looking at the top of the water for footprints of manatees. Manatees have a big, powerful, flat tail, and when they swim along, they'll leave these round circles right behind them, and you can kind of trace the footprints as to where the manatees are. So if you have a designated kind of manatee lookout on your boat as you're catching fish or not catching fish.
In our case, it's definitely not.
You can see those footprints, and you're able to avoid wildlife that way as well.
That's awesome.
Now, do manatees sometimes come right up to the boat?
Sometimes they do. They're curious individuals. That's one of the reasons that we try to keep people away from manatees as much as possible. People want to give them fresh water. People want to give them food, and I'm sure it's coming from a good place. It's coming from their heart, but it's the worst thing we can do for those animals is to feed them and teach them to come up to humans and come up to boats. So that is something that we try to avoid as much as possible, is interacting with those animals.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, I'm wondering, what happens when you rescue a manatee who has a serious injury? Where does it go for treatment?
It's a big effort for rescuing the manatees. A lot of training goes into that. It's a boat crew of usually about 10 that will drop a big net around the manatee, pull it on board, and assess the manatee. And if it needs to go into rehabilitation, we have quite a few animal hospitals that are able to take manatees and are throughout Florida now. I think Brevard Zoo is opening up a new manatee rehabilitation center as well. Locally, we have SeaWorld out in Orlando. They've been a great partner for a very long time, and they are skilled specialists in getting those manatees rehabilitated back to good health and then releasing them back out into the wild.
Wow, that's awesome to know that we have so many local partners that are willing to help in. I love manatees. I think manatees are like the coolest animals. Every time I see them, I'm like, oh my gosh, I just want to like give you a little cuddle. Like, you're so cute. Don't. Yeah, but don't. Yeah, bad idea. Now, I'm assuming that's one of the most common misconceptions about manatees, that you should do that. Is there any other myths or anything that you guys hear?
Pushing animals back out into the waters. We dealt with this yesterday, especially right now. It's manatee mating season. It's a little bit difficult for the females. They do get pursued by quite a number of males out there. So the females will come up into shallow waters. They will beach themselves very intentionally, just to take a break, catch their breath, catch up a little bit of energy again. And when beachgoers see those animals on shore, the first thing they want to do is push that animal back out into the water. And if we could get everybody's attention on don't push stranded animals back out to the water, that's a huge help for the manatees. And when they strand, they're stranding for a reason. They need to be there. The best thing to do is pound FWC from your cell phone. We'll get a biologist down there and we'll investigate the situation and see what needs to be done.
Does that go?
Push animals back out into the water. I'm sorry.
Does that go for sea turtles too?
Sea turtles, dolphins, sharks, anything like that.
Okay.
When animals strand, if you push them back out into the water, they're going to strand again. Stranding is not a great process physiologically on their system, so they'll strand again and they'll strand in worse condition. So every time you push that animal back out, you're lessening the chances of their survival. It's the worst thing we can do. Don't push animals back out to the water. Wow,
what a great message. I would have never known. I would have been like, oh my gosh, let me help. And I guess it is with good intention. They think that they're helping that animal. In reality, they're not, and that I think is a hard lesson to learn when it comes to wildlife, because so many people are like, oh my gosh, how cute, let me help. And it's definitely not as helpful as
especially
when
with manatees, they look so big and so, they're such cute, chubby animals, but they're extremely large and they're extremely heavy and powerful. So even a manatee that's not in prime condition or that's stranded itself, if they flop around, they can really injure you. So like Chad was saying, the best thing is really to leave it alone, call the experts. A lot of people don't really know a lot about manatees, including myself. When I first heard about manatees, I did not grow up here. I had no idea what they are. So just education is a really big thing to just like push your knowledge to other people, so they learn about manatees.
Yeah, and like you were saying, manatees are really big animals. They're adorable, but they are a lot heavier than I think people assume. When you guys are doing a rescue, what do you guys do to keep your team safe during that?
A lot of training goes into that. It's a very specialized team that'll go out and rescue these animals. So we start with basic training in the classroom. We move into practical application, kind of rehearsing these rescues, a lot of rehearsal, and then it's always human safety first. The biggest thing we do out on the rescue boat is we shut up. We let the boat leader lead. Everybody else listens. That way one person has control, and that's most of the time FWC will have that control. And some great network partners all get on the boat and work together to get those animals into safety.
Yeah.
What a rewarding job you have. You must go home at the end of the day feeling like, wow, I really did something today.
Can't complain.
Good.
What inspired you guys to start working with manatees?
Well, like I said, when I first heard about a manatee, that was about 11 or 12 years ago. I had never even heard of a creature like that. So I was fascinated. I actually originally made my own documentary about manatees. I do have a background in media and communication. And then I started working for Save the Manatee Club a little over 10 years ago. So I think it was just this, I wanted to help do something that helps make a difference. And I've always, loved animals. I've always loved marine life, and combining my background in communication with actually working for these animals, it's basically a dream come true.
Yeah, definitely. How about you?
Manatees are a big part of our ecosystem out there. I fish, I surf, I dive. I'm on the water a lot. I'm just like everybody else who enjoys our Volusia County waterways. Lots of people all across America, all across the world, they save their money their entire year to come down here just for a week to enjoy what we have. Manatees and dolphins, all marine mammals, sea turtles, fish, our seagrasses, our coral beds, those are all just a huge part of that ecosystem out there. And if one of those parts fail, everything else starts to fail. It's something we call a trophic cascade. So protecting those animals out there just helps with the general, health of the environment out there.
Well, you mentioned seagrass. Can you tell me what's going on with seagrass in the Mosquito Lagoon?
It's coming back. We're hearing good news right now. So a couple of years ago, we did have a mass seagrass die-off. There was a lot of excess nutrients in the water coming from fertilizers and aged septic tanks that were not doing our waters any favors out there, and it caused a lot of algae across the top of the water. Algae shades the seagrass that's trying to get the sun's light underneath, and that we had a massive seagrass die-off. So manatees don't tolerate colder temperatures, so they go into these warm water areas where there's not a lot of food sources for them during the winter, and as they were coming out of their wintry grounds, there was nothing for them to eat. It was a very, very sad situation. We called it an unusual mortality event, mortality meaning death. We lost over 1,000 manatees that season. It was very, very difficult for everybody to keep up with, and the population took a huge hit. Recently, a lot of awareness has come about, and a lot of amazing biologists out there doing habitat restoration, replanting seagrasses, getting oysters out there, and kind of clarifying our water, getting rid of that algae a little bit. And seagrasses are starting to come back. One thing we have in Volusia County is very viable seagrass beds. Right outside of Lake Canaveral National Seashore, in between there and Oak Hill, we've got amazing seagrass beds out there. So we are seeing a lot more manatees within Volusia County over the past couple of years.
That's awesome. Well, I tell you what, let's go ahead and take our last break. We'll be back in a second.
We are Volusia County Beach Safety. We're here to serve Volusia County's 47 miles of unique coastline. Volusia County beaches. Yeah, those beaches. But also these beaches. We have millions of visitors every year, and we work around the clock to keep our beaches safe and beautiful. And you can help.
Swim near a staff lifeguard tower.
Pick up your trash. And fill holes. Identify, avoid, and escape rip currents.
Please leave the beach cleaner than you found it.
There we go. Look out for one another. and keep an eye on kids, especially near the traffic lane and in the water.
Pets are allowed at our 2 pet-friendly beaches, Lighthouse Point Park and Smyrna Dunes Park.
If you see something, say something.
A clean and safe beach guarantees fun in the sun for everyone. Thank you for doing your part to keep Volusia County beaches beautiful. See you at the beach!
Make the most of your day at the beach. Download the Volusia County Beaches app today. Sign up for real-time notifications on vehicle ramp openings and closings. Find staffed lifeguard towers. Get updates on tides and beach conditions, plus off-beach parking and coastal parks info. Volusia County Beaches app is available for your smart devices at the App Store and Google Play.
Welcome back to Volusia Today. We have been talking all about manatees and about Boat Safety Week and all sorts of stuff and all the different things that you guys do in order to protect the manatees and work with manatees. That being said, how can we as community members get involved in that program? I know you're with the Save the Manatee Program. What can we do?
Yeah, so there's a lot of ways for the public to get involved with manatees or with Save the Manatee Club. We do have a volunteer program. You can learn more on our website at savethemanatee.org/volunteer. Like I said earlier, during National Safe Boating Week, just, keeping an extra eye out for manatees while you're on your boat. Participating in cleanups is a really great way to help, as well as we're just entering the wet season right now, so cutting down on your fertilizer use is a really big thing. So a lot of times people kind of feel overwhelmed because the problems are so big and they think they can't really make a difference, but there's a lot of little things that literally everybody can do, and then in the big picture they all add up and really make a difference for manatees.
Those individual efforts is really what we thrive on. Like Cora said, people don't think they can make a difference on just an individual standpoint. That's where the differences are made. It really is. We run a couple of volunteer programs as well where individuals can get involved. We run a very extensive monofilament recovery and recycling program. So it's collecting fishing line from designated points around Volusia County, keeping that fishing line out of the water. That's one of the things that we deal with manatees and dolphins and sea turtles and birds and everything as well, is entanglements. And fishing line is the #1 culprit. Animals will ingest this, they get wrapped up in it, and it can quickly end their life. It's very unfortunate. So people can get involved in that program. And also our Manatee Watch program is a great program as well that's documenting sightings of Volusia County manatees in our waterways around here, and that gives us a good kind of spatial overview of where those manatees are at and how we can better protect them. And that's also available on the Volusia County website. Volusia/manatees will bring you right to that webpage.
That's awesome. Now, you had brought up other marine life that you guys work with. Do you guys see that quite often, or is manatee the #1 that you see that's affected by those different things in the water?
Manatees is probably the bulk of our rescues. With dolphins, rescues is a little bit more challenging. We do, enact dolphin rescues often, whenever we can. We did that over the weekend, searching for an entangled dolphin out there. But with dolphins, it's more investigations. It's mostly postmortem is what it is.
Wow, that's crazy. How often do you guys work with postmortem?
That's a majority of the job is investigating what happened to these animals when they come up. So we do rely on the public to report these animals that they're seeing that didn't make it out there. We also really rely on the public to call FWC and report animals that they see that are in distress out there.
Wow, that's crazy. And I know that we have, obviously with the sea turtles and stuff, we have the lighting ordinances that help with them. Is there anything similar to that happens with manatees where they get confused in the water from the lights from boats?
Not from lights from boats, from like Cora mentioned earlier, boats going too fast. We have designated areas that are manatee zones that are historically full of manatees. So we try to keep everybody slow in there. Manatees are very slow-moving animals. We try to match the boat speed and give them a good, safe habitat. It's usually not the propellers of a slow-moving boat that's going to really, really injure the manatee. Obviously, we are going to see scars from that, but it's those fast-moving boats where the hull of the boat or the skeg of the engine impacts. It's those blunt force impact trauma. That's what really, really hurts our wildlife out there, and that's the thing that'll usually cause mortality. So keeping those boats slow is the best thing that we can do.
Well, that's interesting. I would have thought it was the opposite. Obviously slow moving is important, but I would have thought it was the propellers that made the most damage. But I guess that does make sense. The speed is more of an impact to any animal. Even, you think about getting hit by a car. Slow moving car is not going to injure you as much as a fast moving car is, that's for sure. That that being said, I mean, there's all sorts of stuff that's going on right now with a lot of people coming to Volusia County because, you know, it's summertime. People want to come to our beaches. It's a beautiful, beautiful place to be, as we were talking about earlier. How do you guys deal with people who are coming here that have never experienced a manatee or seen a manatee? What would you recommend to them to do to look out for them?
So I think, education is really key. For Save the Manatee Club, we do a lot of outreach via press releases, our social media, as well as little videos, all those kind of things, just to get people to care and just to learn. Like you said, and like Chad said earlier, there's a lot of people that come here and we have a beautiful state, we have beautiful environment, but a lot of people just don't know. So it's really important to provide that education. And we do have a lot of volunteers out there too who talk to the public, whether that's at festivals and events or maybe at the state parks. So just educating people and kind of interpreting what they're seeing. A lot of people, they really start to care when they start to learn. So that's a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. And you guys had said, we talked about Boat Safety Week a little bit earlier in this show, I guess you would call it. We talked about it a little bit in relation to manatees, but boat safety goes a lot further than just manatees.
Boat safety is not just for manatees, that's for us as well. Human safety first. Humans are our number one importance out there. So yeah, boat safety is checking your life jackets, making sure that your boat is stocked, that you guys have signaling devices, your whistles are ready, your fire extinguishers are working, checking over your boat to make sure you and your family are having a great time out there on the water.
Yeah, definitely. If there's one thing that you could, leave somebody with when it comes to manatees, something that's the most important thing for someone to remember, what would that be? Do you guys have anything?
See something, say something. Call, hound up your see an animal that doesn't look quite right to you, call somebody and have a professional come out and look at that animal.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, anything else?
I mean, Chad pretty much summarized these big lumbering animals, and I think what's the most fascinating thing to me is just how resilient they are. We've had some rescues of animals where we really didn't think they would pull through, and they made a full recovery and are able to go back out into the wild, caring for their calves at the same time that they're being rehabilitated for these horrific injuries. So they're just these really charismatic animals, and that's our job to protect them.
That's awesome. I mean, what an incredible job. I'm jealous. I'm about to go work with the manatees. That sounds awesome. I mean, you were saying about the resiliency of manatees. Is that something you guys see a lot with the calves and all them being super injured and then watching them make a full recovery? How often do you see that?
So I think we were both on a rescue a couple of years ago. It was over here in South Volusia County, Edgewater, Oak Hill area. And it was a horrifically injured mother manatee with a newborn calf. And they were rescued together, were in rehab for quite a while. And mom made a full recovery. And we were able to release them back out into the wild earlier this year.
That was the worst injury
awesome.
I've ever seen on a live animal. We had very, very little hope for those animals, unfortunately, and they both made a full recovery because they are resilient animals. They're very hardy. Also, the skilled staff at the rehabilitation center, specifically SeaWorld, was involved in that one, and that animal made a full recovery, and it was a great time to release those animals back.
Well, thank you so much for you guys being on today. Watch out for those manatees, and we'll see you guys next week.